Hello there, Bronco fans. We got a special edition of Bronco Planet. We got mayhem. Just when you think there's no more mayhem left in this poor city, Peyton Manning flown in. Plane picks him up in Miami. They go pick up John and the boys, who's out watching Whedon, I believe, at his pro day. And we're here. And
this is the shortest show we've ever done. Okay, give him whatever he wants. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Hey, I got to tell you, me and Chris don't always see eye to eye, but I think we're both in the same camp. And just as any really NFL expert would be, I believe, you got to believe in this thing. I mean, I love Tim Tebow. I sat there all season long and tried to sell you on Tim Tebow. I'm not really surprised at the direction you're going. But, here's what kills me. These Tebow lovers just cannot take the blinders off. And you got to say this is one of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game. And there was some risk. There was risk when the Saints went after Drew Brees, when no one believed that, yes. And really the question mark on Peyton Manning isn't really the neck, which everybody keeps talking about. It's really his arm strength and whether that's going to come back and be what it is. In that little video they showed the other day, he threw one 40-yard pass. So that's not really, an indicator that Peyton's all the way back. So it's a risk. So you've been hearing the news all day. What's on your mind? What do you think?
Don't let him leave town.
Okay.
Hide the keys, whatever you have to do. Don't let him leave town until you make a deal. You look through the entire NFL, and there's maybe one team that builds the strongest case as Denver does, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. But if you're making the sale to Manning, you want to bring Reggie Wayne with you? Fantastic, right? Demaryius Thomas is your number one. Reggie Wayne's your number two. Decker's your number three. Eddie Royal becomes your punt returner. Quan Cosby is working at five guys. Whatever it has to happen. The only name that you hear that Peyton may want to bring with him that makes me a little nervous is Jeff Saturday. The offensive line is young. They seem to be a pretty cohesive group. Breaking up that offensive line at this point, I'm not real sure I want to do that. But the other thing, Shad, is you bring him in. That allows you to go into this draft looking on the defensive side of the ball, which is where a majority of the work has to happen.
All right, so next question. If the Broncos were to get Peyton Manning, do they keep Tim Tebow as a backup, or is that too much noise, too much of the circus, and you ship Tebow off to be a starter potentially? Jacksonville, other teams may be interested.
It depends on what Tebow wants to do. Okay. If I'm John and I'm sitting here with Wonder Boy Tim, I said, listen, I'll get you to the Hall of Fame. I'm going to sign Dallas Clark, and you're going to play as the tight end behind him. And in 3 years, Tebow is the greatest tight end in the NFL.
Well,
I'll get him to the Hall of Fame.
Expecting that, yes.
I'll get him to the Hall of Fame. I think you get rid of him. I think you have to. I think you. There's too many fanatical, over the top. I think you call Jacksonville and get a third-round pick for him and let him go.
It reminds me of the Grateful Dead following. I mean, I've never seen a following quite like this. And they're fighting, and it's really actually annoying at times to other Bronco fans that, it was one thing, right? I sat there. All you got to do is look on YouTube. You'll see rant after rant on Tim Tebow needs to be the Denver Broncos quarterback. Right. But that was when Orton was in the game and Brady Quinn. Right. We're talking, this is
at that time,
yes,
he was the best option.
Yes, and he continues. If this falls through, we don't have egg on our face that everybody took this chance. We're living in a good world right now. Our choices are a young, inspiring quarterback who's raw, or one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. And that's good news, Bronco fans. So quit fighting out there. Everybody get along and let's have a kumbaya moment. Everybody gather hands and we'll be okay. We got to get through this thing. I would like to see Tebow hang around, but at the same point, I want to see Tebow do good. He could go to Jacksonville. I'll still cheer this guy on. Would I like to see him in a Bronco uniform? Yes, but not more than Peyton Manning.
I'd cheer for him more as a Jacksonville Jaguar than I will as a Bronco. Listen, this is perfect. You deal him to Jacksonville for a third-round pick. You take Whedon in the third round. A guy's 27 coming in. The maturity's never going to be an issue. Give him 2 or 3 years. It worked in San Francisco with Steve Young. It's worked in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
And I like Whedon, but do you think because they know he's going to wait for a few years, they go after Arizona's quarterback, they go for Boise State's guy?
Kellen Moore, I don't think is an NFL player. I think Whedon may be. I think Nick Folk, the kid you're talking about out of Arizona, may be. But at this point, really, the draft and the backup, I don't care. But let me. I did do a little bit of homework today.
All right, that's good. I appreciate you doing a little homework.
Let me give you some of these names.
First for Bronco
let me
Planet.
give you some of these names and see if you can tell me what they all have in common. Your boy Tom Brady.
Yep.
Eli Manning. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers. Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner.
I would guess, well, I'm not going to guess. I mean, those are clearly Super Bowl quarterbacks.
Those are the starting quarterbacks from the last last 5 Super Bowls.
Okay.
The 10 quarterbacks from the last 5. I don't care how much you love Tebow, you cannot seriously put him in that group. You cannot come close to putting him in that group. And I think Bolin has gone through, the first 15 years I owned this team, I went to the Super Bowl 5 times. The last 13 years that I've owned this team, I got within a couple AFC Championship games, and I think this is Elway's chance to take Josh McDaniels there, put it behind him. My era starts day one with Peyton Manning.
Now, let's talk a couple things there. Tebow fans would argue that the names you did aren't second-year players like Tim Tebow. So do you expect him, or are you saying the potential's not there anyway?
These players in their second year were much better than Tebow was this year. Look at what happened. Yeah. Look at what happened when defenses got a second look at Tebow.
I will give you this: they may not have won more games than he did his second year, but they certainly played better as a whole than he did.
And know we talked about it all year long. Every rule change in the NFL has been to aid the quarterback and the wide receiver. And if you're not great at those positions, not good, you have to be great at those positions to do what Elway and Bolin say they want to do.
All right, here's the next wild card. What do you do with, the most conservative coach in all the NFL, John Fox, who likes to run, who likes to punt rather than kick field goals? What do you say to Peyton Manning, who knows he's got a coach that isn't going to really support his style, or do they adjust it the same way they adjusted to Tebow's, style?
Let's be honest. When you bring in Peyton Manning, he's your offensive coordinator. Right, and I think
go with that.
I think
John
that's
Fox
I think
that way.
I think and let's be honest, it's Bolin and it's Elway, and if John Fox isn't on board, you get somebody that's on board. I mean, there are a couple cases in this league where the player is that big a deal, and this is one of them. And it doesn't matter. It could be Mike McCoy, it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody. Because when Manning breaks the huddle, he knows exactly where he's going with the ball, and it doesn't matter what the play is. He's going to get you into the right play.
Now, here's what I think works in the Broncos' favor and why I think Peyton Manning likely goes with the Denver Broncos. First of all, he meets with John Elway. Great, both NFL legends. I think they'll be very comparable.
We compare Super Bowl rings for a while.
Right, yes.
We've done it before. We've been there.
And I think he knows that. I know a good buddy of his, Todd Helton. They played ball back in Tennessee together. Right. I think he's heard good things about Denver. I think there's a legacy about Denver and their Super Bowl. You look at the Dolphins. You got the 72 Dolphins, and that's it. Yeah. You don't think of a great quarterback like Peyton Manning, who said repeatedly, it's not about the money. Where do you want to finish? And is really that going to be Miami and all that noise down there? And I think John Fox is a great guy that the players warm up to. And the fact that John Elway and John Fox are on a plane with him today, then spend 6 hours at Dove Valley. You got Pat Bolin flying in. And I don't know. I think Elway still wants to get that ownership. And I think if there's a wild card, I think John's having a side conversation and say, hey, maybe someday, we got to start thinking bigger and
you and
better.
I are running the show.
Let's run the show. Yeah. Why don't you do what I did, finish with a couple Super Bowls, and then we'll go run this organization. So I don't know. I mean, that maybe John doesn't want to share that part of it, but I'm thinking, what do you do to get this guy over? And John Elway, although he'll do it because he likes to win, doesn't want to spend his whole offseason mentoring Tim Tebow when he could be eating steaks at his restaurant, playing golf, and that problem goes away. And it's the one quarterback, as you said, that trumps everything, that says, hey, it's Peyton Manning. Get over it, Tebow fans, where you couldn't do it. And I wouldn't be supporting this if this was for your average quarterback, but this is Peyton freaking Manning.
Yeah. I mean, Tebow fan has to realize last year at that time, that was your best option. There's the new best option, and it's Peyton Manning. Whatever the deal is, I'm thinking all day, what would be the thing he could ask for that Bolin or Elway says no? And you know what? If he wants to bat cleanup for the Rockies, do it.
We can use it.
Call Dan O'Dowd, make that deal. If he wants to be the shooting guard, you call George Karl and you get it done. Don't let him leave town.
I agree with you. So there you hear it. We're going to reach out to Danny a little later in the week as this whole thing unfolds. We'll get his thoughts. We'll have lots of coverage here. Watch all of our articles right here on Bronco Planet and on YouTube. I'm telling you, it was exciting. Helicopters around Dove Valley today. I was down there, and there's mayhem in the city.
There could be another slow white Bronco.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll catch you a little bit later and keep you updated on this Peyton Manning to Denver Broncos. Tebow fans, what are we going to do?
Please sign.
What are we going to do?
I'm begging you to sign. Please.